and you start scrolling up, and you
Right.
start scrolling up, and you keep scrolling up, and you're like, I wasted way too much time,
Yeah, you
energy,
put timestamps and
spirit
shit.
on this. Like, that did not need to happen at all.
I've
Yeah,
got
for me, it's always
15
like,
different.
damn,
50
he got
different
me.
profile-
Like, I'm fucking
Yeah.
idiot. You know, it's like, nah, I just got played. Like, I'm a fucking loser. Like, he got me. I don't care if I won the debate. Like, just getting involved in that shit, I just feel like I lost. Like, I just lost a whole hour, and then the hour thinking about it, and then the hour after that, like realizing how fucking stupid I am.
And you never get it back. You never get it back.
You know, then you're mad that you lost that 3 hours. You're like, what the fuck? What happened?
I've got 15 Pro Football Reference tabs open. And I'm still pissed.
Wife comes in. 1 second. I'm about to make a really good point.
I need to compose a tweet.
Dinner FF ding dong over here feels my fucking wrath.
And then you come up with the world's best tweet, and then their reply is just like LOL, and you just it's all right out the window.
I hate the LOL.
LOL. Okay, do your research.
Oh,
Cool story, bro.
brutal.
Yeah.
Hey, hun, how do you screenshot? How do you?
Damn, that's so funny.
We're gonna make some enemies tonight.
Definitely.
Ding dong over here.
I know. I feel like I've been seen. You coming at me? You coming at the bun, Jake?
It's too good.
I've seriously had moments on Twitter where I'm like, I better make sure that I don't have my address listed someplace that's easy to find. I need to scrub off all physical like references to where I am because I don't need this person coming hot in the morning to come track me down.
Yeah.
I said that I don't like Ronald Jones, and now they. You know?
How would you not like Ronald Jones?
Wait, you don't like Ronald Jones?
Come on.
Wait
This
a
is a
tick.
hypothetical guy.
Do you know where you? Do you know where you are? Did you look at the show sheet?
I have no opinion one way or the other about. I'm
All right.
Switzerland on Ronald Jones.
No,
I've
I've your take. You hate Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell us about Dare.
Oh,
Come on.
Wait until I hack your VPN. It's gonna be so on. So on.
All right, we'll get to Ronald Jones later. We have what do we have, J Mike? Like about an hour dedicated to him tonight, because we're gonna break down the Tampa Bay backfield, and then prospective running back that signed there this year and next year. We're gonna really get into it. Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I'll let you there.
Okay. It is.
encourage him to it.
Yeah. It is. Look. It's live. All right. It's Tuesday. It's 9:30 Eastern ish. I worked so hard, guys. Really, just day and night. Okay, for weeks on end to try and get this the way that I didn't want it to look. And I said, J Mike, look, is this good enough? Is this going to suffice for the open bar for our weekly live show that we do together as brothers? So is it enough? Tell me, is it enough?
I have to say, the work that you've put in to lay these boards,
Yep.
to then turn and stain them in
Yep.
such a beautiful fashion, and then design them, not only with the live at the top, but also just our moniker, at the bottom, just the symbol. This is the open bar. I am beyond impressed. I am beyond proud. I could not thank you enough for the work that you've put in for the last week.
Wow.
You are the brother that I deserved.
Yeah.
Because I've been that awesome in 2020. So thank you for being everything that you should be. I appreciate that.
I feel like I need a box of tissues over here. That was very touching.
This is how we start off shows. It's just just a compliment battle for the first like 30 minutes.
Steven, thanks.
Yeah. Whoa, Steve, back-to-back weeks. Is Steve coming back to Twitter after the comeback to the podathon? And now he's just he's revived himself.
The podathon was the kickoff.
Okay.
I think that his
Steve.
the new Steve.
I like that. All right. All right. Well, I don't know. We're here. Look, it's we've got a great show for you tonight. We've been planning this for months. All right. I've been scrolling through the tweets, the Twitter. Okay. I've been looking to argue with some people. And then I finally found 3 people that I could consistently argue with about things that they have opposite views on from me. It's going to be so easy. This is going to be super lively tonight. And then we just brought on one guy to fill in for 20 more minutes, but we'll get to him later. He might not even get a chance to intro. That's the thing. He might not even get a chance. Yeah. We got to start. We got to start with the people that we brought in for the first time, though. This is real. This is happening. It could be an open bar world record, J Mike. 3 new people out of 6. Pretty impressive. Okay. So first up, let's go right here. Bauer Club. All right. I'm going to go with you first because you made us the show sheet for tonight. And dude, I seriously appreciate that. We don't have a show without you. Welcome to the show. Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Not only did I make the show sheet, but I never even saw the show sheet. That's how
Bingo.
mysterious and in-depth it is all at the same time. But yeah, other than not, knowing what we're going to talk about tonight, I'm doing very well. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll get into your show sheet here shortly.
Absolutely.
I know you're trying to play the joke on, but we seriously need a sheet. So. All right, and keep it with the noobs. Jordan, little baby fan. All right, 6 Lack fan. All right.
Whoa.
No. Hey, look, if you know his features, all right. If you know his features with the Jesse Reyes, all right. Hey, my name is 6 Lack. You ever heard that one?
Yeah.
So okay, that's all I'm saying. All right. Look, I got respect on his name. Okay?
Yeah, no, I know you do.
But how are you doing, dude? Nice to have you on.
I'm awesome, man. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I mean, I wish J Mike invited me too. I thought it was going to be like both you invited me, but it was just you, and I appreciate that. We have that mutual respect for music, so I still appreciate it nonetheless.
And that's really what this show is all about tonight. All right. I've been saying for months that J Mike, I've been thanking him, week in, week out about inviting people to the show, to putting in the work to make this show what it is. But little did he know that I was just setting him up for failure, because now I'm coming through and inviting all the real guests. All right. Any previous guests that have been on this show, you ain't nothing. All right. Because we got the real new guests this week. And J Mike, we might not have any more people willing to come onto the show. We might have to have these same 4 people now. I might have just happened, but I'm with it. All right. Next up, Jake Trowbridge. Someone called you Throwbridge. Is this a thing? Tell me more. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? What's good?
Not in the order that you asked them, but I am great. How are you? Yes, that's been a thing that people have called me that in the past. I'm so glad that you nailed it out the gate. I've gotten Throwbridge, Trollbridge, Towbridge, Your Bridge, just every iteration of bridge. So I'm happy that you were able to crush it initially and save us the embarrassment.
I mean, what's interesting is have they even played around with the bridge? There's plenty of those to be thrown around.
No, they're not a very creative bunch when it comes to butchering my name. They really just focus on that first part of it. The second part is untouchable, apparently.
Okay. Well, welcome to the open bar.
Thank you.
We might have an episode name by the end of this if we get creative enough, J Mike.
Troll bridge so big.
Bridge so big.
Let's get it.
Okay. Googling synonyms for fridge and bridge. Right now. All right, and the vet. Welcome back to the show. All right, man. Happy to have you. I'm gonna try and convince you in about 15 minutes to keep it that way. Otherwise, you were not invited back.
Oh, well, that's fair.
It's
That's
nice
fair.
to have you, Kent. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm good. Yeah, and for what he's talking about, I have hockey in about 15 minutes from now, but I absolutely had to jump on and say hey to the guys and welcome in some new guys and make them work on that sheet. And I hope you did work hard because it's going to be a tough show if you don't have one ready. So I'm here. I'm ready.
And that's what we need is a leader, because it's certainly not J Mike. You know,
Hey, you get what you pay for.
hey, that's kind of a bar for this show. All right. So let's get into it. Let's fit everything into 15 minutes. Starting with whatever you would like to talk about, J Mike, because I have absolutely nothing on my mind.
While he's here, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Mr. Wyrock, out here doing the Lord's work with that ADP for SFBX. So shout out to you for that. Prior to honest question, when I asked this, like from a time standpoint, compiling stuff, getting all that together, like what does that look like when you have to do that? Like what is the actual amount of time just on a day-to-day basis that you have to spreadsheet and everything else that smart people do to actually get the data and make it mean something?
Actually, so in this particular forte, in this particular field, the smarter you are, the less work you do. I wrote a script that just takes all the data straight from the mock drafts. I tell it, I say, go to MFL, search for SFBX. Those are all letters, I promise. And pull all of these mock drafts, pull all of the draft data from that, scrape it, pull out the positions, throw in the numbers, average it, get the ADP, high, low, and all that stuff. And once I write the original script, it probably only took me maybe a couple hours total. And then from then out, I just kind of hit enter and go, and just it refreshes it and writes it right to a Google Sheet.
Sheesh, man. All I know is between what you and Kevin were doing, ADP. It's crazy.
Oh, wait. Yeah, actually, let's get into that, J Mike, because Kent, you don't know this, but I've been, propping you up for weeks as far as that ADP goes, and I have been directly referencing your ADP. Okay, I say Kent Wyrock's ADP. Thank you. Shout out to Kent. Go follow him. So and so, whatever. Right. J Mike, on the other hand, okay, he was just kind of giving you compliments just now, but he was actually all about Kevin's ADP the entire time.
Oh,
so he didn't give a rat's toot about your ADP, Kent.
Hey,
and
it's hard out here on the streets. You got rival gangs, you got to work against, and Kevin, great guy, awful ADP. Great guy, though.
Awful ADP.
No, yep. Honestly, I saw Kevin's apps and stuff, and they're all really cool. He did some pretty robust stuff too. So it's always just awesome to see people, especially some of the Scott Fish Bowl, where it's obviously it's charitable and people are in it just to kind of say that they were, and then they're putting in all this effort on top of it just to make the experience more fun for every single other team. 1,440 teams now doing it, and then they got the satellites and stuff like that, and so. People just love to make the entire event fun, and that's the only reason I do it. I don't expect anything out of it. I don't have a Patreon set up. I just do it because I like it, and I want other people to have something to reference and make their experience better.
Dang it, Kent! You just sounded way too nice for that.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to roll it back and sound a little more jerky or something.
Do I need like a diss track for Kevin? Is that kind of where we're at?
That's what I thought was on the show sheet.
Ooh,
but,
I'm sorry, I had the wrong sheet. Remember, I was talking about the candy machines in the stadium bubbles.
Yeah,
yes. We'll get to that later.
Okay, got it.
FF diss track.
FF diss track.
Yeah, little did Gabe actually tell the truth in this instance, because
that never
happened.
Very
first week that we talked about the ADP, obviously you were the first one that we shouted, and I said, oh, also Kevin has these as well. But since then, it's been Gabe's. Anyway, past that. At this point, what? Huh?
I was gonna. I mean, speaking of ADP, J Mike,
do it.
I'm on the clock, man.
Hey,
SFBX. Okay, I was mid burger bite about 45 minutes ago or so, and I was like, man, I don't know who's available. Maybe I'll just wait for the show. So here I am. What do you guys think? You want to do a little live? What round am I in? 17th, 18th round? Like, we can get really deep on this. All right. I saw Mitchell Trubisky on the board. Huh? Anybody?
Yeah, you did.
He is a football player.
I did.
He should be on the board.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I see some Trubisky, Cobb, Fitz, T. Higgins, Eifert, Chris Thompson, Bowden, Penny, Hurd, Russell Gage, really? Benny Snell, Cole Beasley, Malcolm Brown. Any of those guys for you? Anyone?
I like me some Randall Cobb. I actually didn't realize he was kind of like a deep threat guy more than I realized last year in Dallas, and so that got me kind of excited for him with Watson there, actually. And it's anybody's game because nobody can stay healthy, so maybe he does, and maybe he becomes the dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I take that.
I'm
shot
also on
for
board
sure.
with Cobb. You look at the other receivers there, like Jake just said, who can stay healthy there? Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, and you have Kenny Stills as well. But yeah, give me Randall Cobb. It's not a sexy pick, but at this point in the draft, who is Mitchell Trubisky?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I do only have 2 QBs, and I'm just completely disrespectful to the QB position, apparently. But yeah, the snipes, man, they just kept happening. So I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'll just wait for Mariota to start or something.
Yeah, I figured there. I had to pick him up.
Yeah, no, I'm with it with Cobb. I actually scooped Fuller a round or so before because I have Watson, and I thought,
Ooh,
I
double stack.
I don't know. I hate the like cliche thing of like someone's gotta be the wide receiver one there, but I mean, there's targets there now. Hopkins is not there, but I on the point of Cobb, like from last year, he seems like the safest option, and he's going to be the slot option for sure because it's not Cooks or Fuller or Stills, whatever. So I mean, Cobb actually has like a unique position in that offense, and all right,
Yeah,
all right, guys.
he's the only one who hasn't run a 4.3 in that offense.
All right, y'all run 4 or 3 verts basically, and then we got Cobb on the slant.
On the slant drag, whatever.
Yeah.
Just really glad that you guys can open things up for Randall. Jake, and you brought up something that I hadn't previously thought about, which I appreciate because last week, just kind of as we had closed the show, we were laughing and talking through like, hey, what are some either players or like units on teams that people have been just incredibly disrespectful to, specifically with ADP and things of that nature. And what I brought up was just the entire Houston Texans passing game. And there's one thing that I hadn't even dreamt of is what happens when everyone falls apart in Houston and Randall Cobb is legitimately seeing like 100 plus targets
Right.
in Houston, right? Like that's not like I can squint if I wanted to, but it's not really that far fetched to think about. Just because of the year that he had last year in Dallas, and we see that he can still be productive. And okay, 100 targets is kind of crazy to think about a little bit with all those guys there, but like that's possible. So let me ask this, particularly with Houston, and this is for everybody. Is it crazy to think that Watson doesn't lose any kind of production and the offense can still look pretty good with the group that's there? Like, is that something that's actually feasible?
I certainly think so. They got enough decent weapons to just kind of spread the ball around. I think Deshaun Watson could have just as good of a season as last year, if we're being perfectly honest. He doesn't need to funnel it straight to DeAndre Hopkins every time anymore. He can kind of pick and choose, go on the good read every single time. He's got David Johnson coming out of the backfield now. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I think there's plenty of reason to still be excited for Deshaun Watson here.
I think it's completely overblown, and I think we need to find that happy middle there. But, taking part in a ton of dynasty startups throughout this offseason, once that trade took place, you would have thought Deshaun Watson lost both of his legs. And it's like, especially Dynasty, when he's in the last year of his deal here, is he even in Houston beyond 2020? And then you see the flip in the values with Kyler Murray, and you would think he's the second coming of Christ now. And it's kind of what we looked at with Baker Mayfield once they acquired Odell Beckham in Cleveland last year. So it's just crazy. You know, J Mike, I think there is that, you know, there's that fine line to walk between adjusting your values, but then just completely going overboard and, you know, disrespecting that offense in its entirety. And Watson, you know, with the rushing upside, you know, and the additional weapons there, you know, David Johnson, is he what he was a few years ago? Probably not, but he's going to give you another weapon there that should open things up, like you said, for all those deep threats. So I don't know. I think it's definitely overblown from a redraft and dynasty perspective.
I've been all about trying to add Deshaun Watson anywhere that I can in any dynasty leagues. I think it was easier to get him a little bit earlier on. Honestly, like once the D-Hop news broke initially, I think that was the like optimal window, but he's still, I think, fairly inexpensive for what you're going to be getting out of him. And with those guys, like, I know it's a tall task, but if they do stay healthy somehow, if that 4 core wide receiver group stays healthy and David Johnson somehow stays healthy and Kahali Waring does what I hoped Kahali Waring does this year. He's an athletic beast. He could be in for a good situation.
Can I interest you in a one Jordan Akins tight end for the Texans?
No, you may not, but thank you.
No?
I'm
Oh,
good.
okay. All right. That's fine.
I'm good.
I'll keep it. I'll keep
All
it
right,
myself.
Kent, thanks for coming.
It is about that time. You can
Thank you
keep
for
it
stopping
up.
by. And
And I guess one word answers here. We'll play a quick game of one word answers.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll start with you, John. We'll just work our way clockwise. The Houston Texans pass catcher you most want on your team is?
Cooks.
Well,
Is it based on price? Or it can't just be one. It can't be one word. And I could ramble. So one word with no context. Give me Cooks. I'll stick with Cooks.
Come on, Bauer. Come on.
I love it.
Cooks.
Oh
Jake?
man, we're not even playing the game, J Mike.
Cobb, actually. I'm going to say Cobb.
Jordan.
no, I take Fuller for sure.
Woo, I love it.
Yeah, I take Fuller. They actually have a rapport, unlike everybody else. So I'll take Fuller.
But
Yeah, I'd say that.
Cooks has never had a report because he's been traded 38 times.
I
in
was
his
just about
career.
to say that. Yeah, but he
And
still kind of
crushes
adapts.
it. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter where he is. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who's throwing the ball. He
Crushing the
crushes
game
it.
or crushing his head when he gets
Yeah,
hit.
a little bit of
Tossed
column A, a
him
little
on
bit of
the-
column B.
on the
That's fair.
card and in
True.
the locker room. But
Savage.
just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Gabe, did you answer?
Cooks.
Say it with your chest.
Well, it's we talked about this a lot, man. It's just weird. It's weird that there's, what are they, like beyond like wide receiver 30, 35 and redraft dynasty, kind of whatever you want to talk about. Like the disrespect is real, but and as far as this conversation goes, like disrespecting offenses, I don't think Watson is like too far down. I still had in SFB, at least I had to take him as QB 4, I think, or so. I don't, or maybe it was 6. I don't know, guys.
He was 7 at ours.
Was
so
he
that's
7? It
about
was
right,
probably
yeah.
6. Probably
Yeah,
6.
he went 7 in
I
mine,
can't
too.
remember. 4 was, yeah, never mind. Okay, so he's maybe fallen a couple of spots, but it's not like he's drifting down to like 10 or something. Like the respect is certainly at least still there a little bit. And I mean, with the idea behind Cooks and Fuller, is it purely just like that they could have a concussion or they could have a pulled hamstring? Like, do we think that they're good football players? Like, do we think that they could both be top 24 wide receivers for Watson, given, 16 games played?
Why rock? Final word. No, you
Yeah, Will Fuller is the best football player who doesn't play football. Every time he touches the ball, I feel like it's gold, but he just can't seem to stay on the field. I think there's plenty of reasons to like him, and just hope that it's just kind of been bad luck these last couple of years, and maybe he can finally put together a whole season. And if he does, I think he's in for a pretty good breakout campaign. But yeah, they have a lot of injury prone kind of guys. If you're gonna allow me to use that phrase, some people don't like it so much, but I think it's reasonable.
You're leaving,
in the case of,
so go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. I'm gonna go play hockey now, guys. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
Kent,
it. No worries. Appreciate it.
we love you.
I'll have to get back on some other time.
For the
That
last
sounds-
45 minutes of a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to,
After hockey.
middle 45. And then
Actually,
we'll
how
get
long
the
are you guys
last
gonna be
45.
on? Maybe I'll come back all sweaty.
Honestly, you never
clean
know.
up.
Yeah. Hit us
All right,
hit us
guys.
up in the intermission between second and third period.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
All right, man.
I hope that we're still talking about Brandon Cooks when he comes back.
That would be pretty
1,000
natural.
yards everywhere he's been. Come on.
One word answers.
1,000 yards.
Yeah, exactly. I've got one word answer here.
Oh boy.
This time we'll start with you, Jake. Kyler or Watson? Ooh, watch him sweat. Watch him sweat.
Yeah. Better take a sip of that Arnold Palmer.
Kyler.
Okay. Jordan,
Kyler. It's not even close.
Gabe.
Deshaun.
Woo. John.
I'm gonna bend the rules a little bit again, but I can't be limited to one word, guys. I'm gonna go Kyler in redraft, Deshaun still in dynasty.
Was that the question?
That's my answer.
He
said he was
manipulates
gonna
it
bend
to fit his narrative.
To me, it just comes down to one lost DeAndre Hopkins and one got DeAndre Hopkins. So to me, it's kind of just that simple.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's fair. I mean, can we compare Watson and Kyler like that just in like talent alone? Do we think that Kyler is, or do we think that Watson was so dependent on Hopkins to where that was his success came from, or what? I mean, do we not trust Watson then this year?
No, I still
I
trust him. But I think for me, at least, the only thing is that you look at, honestly, both of them, they both can do very similar things. They can both extend a play. They can both throw to any part of the field. They both play in great offenses. But when you add a player like that to your offense, it's going to make you that much better. And Kyler was already top 12 as a rookie. Without DeAndre Hopkins, you add DeAndre Hopkins, and then obviously Watson losing DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to, maybe it won't affect his game, but we have to assume a little bit of at least efficiency going down as far as his yards per attempt, or at least yards per completion. And then, or we'll see, maybe he's as good as we think he is and he can overcome it all. But I have to imagine they're just project some regression where Kyler's really just sky's the limit.
Jordan, how rude that you didn't even bring up that one of them lost David Johnson and the other
Exactly.
got David Johnson. I mean, does that not just balance that out, right? That should let them
It
back.
was a
to
minor
their-
detail in my opinion. But I see how I completely overlooked that. So thank you, Jake, for bringing that to my attention.
The disrespect. Oh, man.
And one QB still has the better Johnson. Okay.
David, am I right? All right.
Pause.
Awesome.
Pause. But Duke is where I was going with that. Duke. What? I mean, it's there. It's low hanging. Pause. Come on. All right. What? But well, quick. One word answers. Duke or David? Come
David.
on,
Thank
come
David.
on.
Jordan says it all.
Come on.
That's it. Thank you.
Come
David.
on.
Keep it moving.
Come on. Like,
What?
how does Duke get more than 150 touches?
Tell me, Gabe. Tell us. Tell the world.
And I mean, David Johnson could get hurt, so that's fair. But let's assume he doesn't get hurt for some strange reason.
I mean, he
You know,
he wasn't like, I mean, he was like, we don't even know kind of what the David Johnson story was last year, but he seemed kind of hurt, kind of not, I don't know, like
Kind of benched.
yeah, kind of benched. So, I mean, that is what my speculation is, honestly, that like Duke is successful in NFL offenses and he's going to just continue to be on the field. And it might not only be David Johnson on the field. It could be Duke Johnson on the field as well. Kind of that, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb type of dynamic and that ability to still get touches. And maybe David Johnson just isn't successful at all. And Duke kind of takes over in that respect, but I don't know. I just think of last year and how Arizona was disrespecting him in the offense, maybe for the right reasons, and that David Johnson's ADP is going to be higher everywhere else. And Duke's already been in RB2 and RB1, and you're getting him like a running back 40 or something. I don't know. So
Yeah, basically nothing.
yeah,
I don't see people drafting or even talking about Duke. To be fair, if we're
Yeah.
just talking about pure value, right?
yeah.
But
I
we've
think
seen
if
multiple
David-
coaches at this point not willing to commit to Duke and give him the workload that he deserves. He's been one of the most efficient backs on a per touch basis for multiple seasons now. And if we're talking about who would you rather have David Johnson at ADP of this or Duke Johnson ADP of that, especially in Dynasty, I might prefer Duke in that situation. But if David Johnson is healthy strictly in 2020, like Jordan said, I don't see a situation where Duke really thrives in that offense. And that's simply because I don't think he's going to have the opportunity. But for the record, I do love Duke Johnson. So as you guys can tell, I pretty much hedge every single answer I have.
FF hedge.
Could I also
Yeah.
just say that if David Johnson does get injured, which is probably, I mean, whatever, it's a very real possibility, obviously. Bill O'Brien's just going to give like Karan Higdon 200 touches instead of Duke Johnson. Like Duke Johnson's still going to get his 50 touches, and he'll be great with those touches. I'm more nervous about Bill O'Brien than the actual running backs.
Yeah. I mean, my
Bill
issue
will
looking-
call up Lamar Miller and be like, "Hey, Lamar, we need you. Come back," and still not give Duke the ball.
I mean, look at last season with, again, the efficiency that Duke Johnson showed on a per touch basis, like I said, and they willingly chose to give Carlos Hyde the ball how many times last season? Come on.
Yep. No, you're right. I mean, as far as primary touches, I'm with you, like 100%. It's not really about that. It's just his ability to create cannot be unnoticed, I guess. And you'd think that he can still be involved in some sense and continue to be efficient and put up, those RB3, RB2 kind of numbers for, a pretty cheap acquisition price. So
I find the entire Houston offense intriguing for this season. All these new pieces and parts, specific and even with what we say of Will Fuller, and I think that my answer probably to the question of which receiver, I think it is Fuller. If for whatever reason, because he gets hurt on the dumbest stuff, like he has that one catch where he's falling to the ground and like he just can't get up because his knee's jacked. It's like, man, that's the bummiest of luck right there, where something like that happens. And he breaks off these games where just like you talk about weak winning, right? And maybe that's not fair to ask him for that kind of ceiling weekly, but that when he's in and if he's healthy, then he's prone to give you all the goodness that you could ask for, which likely isn't going to be the case for anybody else in the offense except for one Brandon Cooks. Then the question becomes: it's a race to who's leaving the lineup first, and like that's just the game that you don't necessarily want to play. But with Watson and all the speed, and with what Cobb can do, with what DJ and the bad DJ Duke Johnson can do in the passing game, I just have to make the distinction for Gabe. Sorry, guys, but with what the DJs can do in the passing game. Like I said, fingers crossed for Kale Warring, your Jordan Akins. Like it's a really interesting bunch. And so it feels like with Hopkins leaving, and not to get on this whole vacated targets thing, because Peter will come in and he'll hear me say that.
that was a bat signal just now. He got it.
but we'll just say with all the air and opportunity that's there, it's going to be really interesting how that pie gets cut this season. because all of a sudden you have a bunch of guys who have shown it in spots. Kyle obviously in Green Bay and in Dallas, not necessarily the heights that he was in Green Bay, but then Fuller obviously with what we've seen, and then Cooks consistently being high yardage every year. This is like last season. What Miles Sanders was going to be coming into the season was the thing that I was like focused on and watching the most, because I was really curious how that was going to shake out. And then of course we see Jordan Howard play well, and then Sanders comes on in the end like gangbusters. I think the Houston passing game, I think there's value to be had there, but it's a really scary bet to place, right? Like that's a really scary bet because maybe even you're not even paying probably full price if you're trying to trade for any of those guys in any format, but you could lose like the possibility is there that you could crap out, right? So this is true high risk, high reward, I think, for this group. And I'm so fascinated to see how it shakes out, because we see Watson, we hold him in such high esteem, and we also have him as his top 7. And I put it being general because I mean generous, because I feel like he's should be higher than that or earlier, whatever you want to call it. We have all this high esteem for him, but we don't really want to get with the pass catchers. So it doesn't compute for me. So this will be a fun season to watch.
Is it just a matter of like roster construction and like, I guess your safety preference, like you're saying, like how dangerously do you want to live with this group? Are you into Will Fuller? If I get him for 5 games, like you said, he's going to put up buco points. Like, remember when he put up like 1 touchdown per 1.3 receptions, it felt like in 2018. It's like, well, when the dude's on the field, you're going to get all of the points. It's just like you could insert that in your lineup and feel good about it and know you're going to get him for 5 games and then be out and have somebody in the reserves. Or you could go for a safer option, I guess, with like a Cobb, or I guess Cooks is safer. I don't know.
You know what? I will keep pushing pushing the narrative. AB.
Oh yeah, you did take Fuller, didn't you?
No, I took Cobb late. Late.
But you wanted to swing Fuller. I can't remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, you come to that point in the draft, and I think that a bunch of us will, where you're just like, man, I could get Fuller like this late. Like, man, this is interesting. But then you just keep passing, just like, man, I don't want to deal with that headache each week, and I don't want to worry, like, you know. But at a certain point, when Randall Cobb's there in like the 19th or 18th or whatever, it's like, come on, I got like, what am I doing? Like, I got to at least try.
If you're going to put it in tandem with a QB that is going to finish 7th, or better overall, then that has to. I don't know the data behind that, but I'd be curious if there was like a top 5 QB that didn't have, a top 24 wide receiver or a top 12 tight end or something. I don't know. Cause I mean, it seems like targets have to funnel somewhere for something like that to happen.
It's like the reverse of the Giants from 2018 when you had Eli Manning that was like quarterback 26, 27 ADP, and you had Barkley, Beckham, Evan Ingram all going in the top 6 of their respective positions. So pretty much just that reversed.
Yep.
Major.
Go ahead. Are we done with the Houston Texans? Or should we? No, I'm just wondering because you bring thought-provoking questions here to the open bar each and every week, J. Mike, and you talking about teams that are disrespected. I was just wondering if we could talk about another team, unless you want to keep talking about the Texans until Kent comes back.
Speaking of, Kent's still in the chat.
Kent,
hit us up. Hit us up on
Facebook.
Hit us up on YouTube.
He's pushing his own narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you have any Houston tight ends, Kent? Huh?
I think he's the one that brought up Akins, right?
He probably got Darren Fells too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got them all.
We forget. And D-Bro, I see you in the chat, man. And shout out to everybody in the chat, whether it's Periscope.
Wait. J. Mike.
Sorry.
What chat?
Yes. Here you go, man. Like you didn't just holler Duke earlier in the chat. You're unreal. Shout out to the chat, whether you're checking us out on Periscope Live or YouTube Live, Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern-ish. Heavy on the ish, heavier some days than others. But if you're listening to this in podcast form, we appreciate you, and you're missing out on the live fun. But thank you for checking us out. But yes, we can certainly get to another team that you feel is disrespected, Gabe. But D-Bro had asked in the chat, Watson or Kyler, and I think that he just missed our our asking there. So Gabe went with Deshaun, and John said that it matters whether or not it's dynasty or redraft. And Jake, Jordan, and myself, I think all went Kyler. So there was that.
Look,
Don't lie, John pushed.
he did.
pushed.
He did.
He totally
I said
did.
Kyler strictly for 2020. He's
edge.
going to edge out Deshaun Watson, but I still want. I think Deshaun Watson is that safer player because, especially in Dynasty, we're taking Kyler Murray at his ceiling right now. I believe that. So
viewers can't see
Pretty
this,
good.
but John
Yeah,
is
no.
actually sitting on a fence in that room. It's not actually a chair; it's an actual fence that he's sitting on right now.
all right, I don't want to know how you figure that out, but okay, leave me alone.
When are we going to address the
Painful over
chalkboard,
here. I'm
though?
like,
Your computer's never really off, John.
Yeah, Jordan, we're gonna get to that too. We're definitely gonna get to that. I'm sorry, Gabe. Your team now.
What?
You said you wanted to talk about another team that was being
Oh
disrespected.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's do it. All right. Okay, so this is the team, guys. AFC South as well.
And then the Falcons.
What as well as the Texans.
Oh, I thought you said NFC South.
AFC,
Sorry, my bad.
sorry, AFC.
My bad, my
AFC.
bad, my
The Colts. The Colts. How do we feel about the Colts, guys? Because Phillip Rivers is there, and he's not like Deshaun Watson, that's for sure. As far as I know, but he did have a lot of top 24 wide receivers while he was in San Diego / LA, between Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, or go back further. Vincent Jackson, whatever. No, he didn't really blow up until the Bucks, but I don't know, guys. I just think that the ADP doesn't really line up with what could happen with some of the receiving options there for old Phil. I was just looking at it in SFB at least, and the earliest is TY at wide receiver 27, and I know that Pittman and Paris are far down, like wide receiver 50 and beyond. I don't know where Doyle's landing. He's probably tight end 15 to 20-ish. And so is that a little bit too disrespectful? I feel it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some value to extract there, but Phil, man, he's not that good anymore. That's what Phil are we gonna get? Is he gonna just lean on the run game, at which point doesn't really help us for pass catchers? Is he gonna lean on Doyle, who I think we kind of expect that a little bit? But then you look at Hilton, he'll probably be okay. And then after that, I mean, hope Paris Campbell gets involved, hope that maybe Michael Pittman gets involved. But we don't really know how that offense is going to run, because they may be a really good team and just lean on the run and not even pass all that much, right? Because at the end of the day, they want Phil to run the offense, not necessarily air it out 40 times a game.
Even that,
Yeah,
to be fair, that is Phil's style too. He loves to just huck it up about 50 times a game and throw 4 interceptions. So I don't put it past him. Sorry, Jake, carry on.
Oh no, I think that's a very valid point. He's gonna keep trying to chuck it. It's just like, how much is his arm gonna actually let him do that this year? Is this the year where his arm physically falls off and he has to pick it up and then walk it over to the sideline himself, and then they hand off the rest of the game with Jacoby Brissett in there? I don't know, but the improved O-line though has to give him some bump up, right? I mean, like by default, he was fine last year. Like he wasn't atrocious, Phillip Rivers. So I like him a little bit better behind the offensive line in Indy, and I'm still kind of on T.Y. Hilton because I can't get off of him. So if he stays healthy, I'm super excited for T.Y. this year.
yeah, that's
Can
the
we
big
hang
thing.
there? Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go, J-Mac.
I was going to ask, I'm really curious from a standpoint in Dynasty, what would you all be willing to trade to get to T.Y. Hilton? Like, is there any universe in which he's worth a 2021 first?
I wouldn't pay a first.
No way.
Whether it's
Okay.
one quarterback super flex now.
So let's say that he comes out and he gives you some of them old TY vibes, not old TY, but old TY. All right. So he gives you those vibes. Phil Rivers is hooking him up down the field, and he's coming out in the first 6 weeks of the season. He's got like 800 yards receiving because he's crushing. at that point you were trying to make a championship run, do you still see him in a light where you're not paying a 2021 first period?
No,
It'd be too
I'll
hard.
I'll go out and buy Marvin Jones for significantly less.
And I just wanted to ask,
the injuries are there, you know, the injuries are still concerning. And so like you could fall into that trap like last year, because he started off gangbusters last year too with Brissett there. In those first few weeks, TY was looking studly. But the rug can just pull out so easily. It's like AJ Green. Like I would be totally good to have AJ Green on my lineup. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also always nervous that game that I'm watching is going to be his last game.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
and I just wanted to ask that real quick.
Flip, right?
Say it again,
Sorry.
Jordan.
I said another one of those guys you just want to flip like as soon as you can
Yep.
because of that injury factor, right? Or when they'll drop off.
Yep. The reason I asked that real fast is because we've got all these names, and we as the fantasy community, we start when the wide receiver starts creeping up next to age 28, and we as a community start sweating, and we don't want to get to this point of no return where, okay, if I can't get a first for this guy anymore, like I'm getting close to the point where nobody's really going to want him and they're not going to try to trade for him. And I'm going to be stuck with it, good or bad. Right. We just said, we don't know how we feel about Phil Rivers, but we do know that that boy's going to chuck it as long as he's healthy. And if TY is available, then there's opportunity to be had, because there's no one in the offense anywhere close to as accomplished or as many years in the league or whatever else you want to call it as T.Y. Hilton. So I think that, Jake, your point there with T.Y. and the A.J. Green parallel is so crucial, because we're looking at these guys, even though it's been a few years since their best season, since their apex, if you will, we still have that in the back of the mind. It's like, man, when it's good, it's really good, and I want to get in on that. But I was just curious, like, what to what extent you're willing to push the chips in, and I think that's probably fair. Maybe a 21 second, but even still, I'd probably still be nervous to even give that up. Truthfully, I'm sorry, but John, you were saying earlier before I interrupted you there.
Oh, but at this point, I've had like 50 other thoughts that have crossed my mind, so we're just going to skip past that one.
We'll pick one out of the air. Which one's going through your mind right now with Indianapolis?
I'll talk about Jack Doyle for a minute. I think at his current ADP, you know, with the new contract that he did get, I know they brought Trey Burton in, but we wanted him to be something when he went from Philadelphia to Chicago, and he had the opportunity and he did nothing with it. So for me, Jack Doyle, and we've seen the Phillip Rivers tendency to utilize the tight end, and you know, whether or not how much of that is focused on the scheme and dependent on the scheme. But for me, yeah, I think Jack Doyle, he's a decent value. And I know, especially earlier in the offseason when Phillip Rivers went to Indianapolis, everybody, you know, Nyheim Hines is going to be the next Austin Eckler. I just think based on his ADP, that's kind of fizzled, but I think everybody just needs to calm down and temper their expectations when it comes to Austin Eckler 2.0, apparently.
Lazy take. The whole Nyheim Hines is going to be Austin Eckler. Like, whatever.
Boom.
Gave you
Jesus.
What? Just because they like catch passes and Phillip Rivers like did that with Eckler for a season and he was a top 10. Like, it's just late. Whatever. Come on. There's Marlon Mack. It is.
What a lazy take. Just out of nowhere.
Marlon Mack and
It's just
Jonathan
so
Taylor
lazy.
are going to have 90% of the snaps in that offense. Like, whatever, Nyheim Hines. Go warm up some
catch
ramen
passes
noodles
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Passes.
Go catch passes from Jacoby on the sideline.
Yeah, on scout team.
That's so cool.
I don't know. I think Phillip Rivers could still throw like 500 times this season, which would still like put him up in the top half of attempts. Maybe not in QB.
500?
Yeah, I think that's high. I think that's high.
Yeah.
Just
based on the
I'd
game,
say-
based
Just
on the
thinking
game
about how
script,
bad that division is too.
The
Right.
Colts.
Yeah, that division's terrible.
Why am I attacked right now? Let's do a bet.
I
Do
am
it, K-Mike.
attacked right now. Open bar bet. Yay.
Yes. 500 attempts. That's all
Let
he
me
needs.
write this down too, so I don't forget.
500.
What?
How many picks?
Well, 500.
Hey, now here's the thing though. As a point of reference, between Brissett and Hoyer, they did throw over 500 attempts last season. Looks like 512.
Yeah.
And I have to
math serves.
backtrack very quickly because I just looked at our 2020 projections and we have them at 508. So yeah, 500. I'm good with it.
Well, it's still a good over under number then, I guess, for betting.
You're gonna have to give me 525, pal.
And it's a bit. Oh my god.
Little give and a little take there, bucko.
But okay, sure, we can just speculate that he does throw 500. I guess that's where my mindset was coming from initially, of like that this team is being disrespected. That I think that Phillip Rivers can throw in the top half of attempts at least, and with attempts there's opportunity. So with those guys going way beyond top 24, I mean, you got to think at least one of them's there. And I've been seeing in these words on the right of my screen, J Mike. I don't know where they're coming from, but I saw Paris Campbell. I don't know who's phoning in to our show and able to watch and type things at the same time that we speak. But they've been talking about Paris Campbell, and I've always been like, why just because Michael Pittman, man, why are we disrespecting old Paris, huh? Rookie wide receiver, just because he didn't blow up like the rest of them, McLaurin and Metcalf, and have a top 24 season. Sorry, guys. Gee whiz.
Cue the Ed Reed clip. I'm hurt, dog. I'm hurt, dog. So,
yeah, true.
The Paris is fun to think about because, like, we remember the hype train that was building for him last season. With the coaches speaking very highly of him. Very, very similar to what kind of was happening with McLaurin, where everybody was hyping him up and coaches were excited to see him. We saw the routes he was running, and we got to hear him speak about his mindset on routes. Paris obviously didn't necessarily get the opportunity from being hurt and whatnot, and I'm curious if they're only getting, because last season, and again, I don't know how much we can lean on last season to be able to project, because everything, obviously Rivers is different, weapons coming in are different. They only threw combined, Brissett and Hoyer threw for, looks like, over 3,200 yards on those 500 attempts, which is not that's not something that you get excited about, right? But then you try to look at the year that Phillip Rivers had last season, and again, I don't know how you all are much smarter than me in terms of how you can try to draw parallels and do those different things. But Rivers throwing it 591 times last year for 4,600 yards. I'm curious, and again, this is another one where you take your dart throws, you take your shots for who you think could come out victorious from a target's perspective, but I have no idea how you can go in with confidence with whether it's Paris, whether it's Pittman, for Peter Howard, the Zach Pascal love reigns true. One word answers: Pittman or Paris?
Paris.
Yeah, I'll take Paris.
Paris, cheaper.
Wow. I'm going Paris too.
I'm just honestly mostly interested to see how much red zone work Pittman's going to get, because when you think about that offense, he's like really the only big guy there. So is he going to be involved? Yeah. Is he going to work outside early? But with COVID and all this stuff, he's not really going to get a whole lot of snaps with the quarterback. And so, but you think about just pure red zone, man, they should throw to that guy all day in the red zone.
Yeah, I'm kind of with John. I think it's going to be like really a Jack Doyle season for that reason, maybe more than anything else. And Jonathan Taylor season, not to put too fine of a point on it, but I really think that he'll get involved in those red zone duties as well. So yeah, I really like both of those guys for that red zone action.
That's the thing is that Chargers team has had Eckler and Gordon and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry and Keenan Allen. And like, it's always kind of been who's healthy, I guess, between those five and, in previous years, whatever, but in recent years, at least. And it's like at least two or three of those kind of propel themselves into that top tier, whether that's Rivers Association, I don't know, but I mean, he's at least part of it. I would think so.
Yeah, we're kind of discrediting the talent of Rivers, assuming it's the talent of the players, even though I think
Yeah.
all those players are very, very talented.
Sure.
Maybe we are discrediting the talent of Rivers a
Oh,
little
Phil,
bit.
come on,
Yeah.
guys. It's a Philip Rivers
Want to show
pod.
Phil a little bit of love. All those damn kids he's got.
We got
One of them could be watching.
We got Trowbridge on the pod. Philip Rivers. Come on, guys. Come on. You see the connection?
I see it.
I was-
I feel it in my bones.
See it?
He is now QB1
Feel
for my
that?
year.
Okay. Okay. We're here. We're finally here. One thing that I've been seeing on Twitter about the Colts wide receiver core is that the wide receiver 1 is not on that team. And that's probably true. For me, I don't know. I mean, like, we can probably squeeze out like 1, maybe 2 top 24 guys. Two would be a stretch, but 1's, I think, fair. But next season, I don't know if it's going to look the same. I don't know. I don't see Pittman as that guy for me. He's just kind of like I don't know, move the chains, get a first down type of guy. And I don't know. I don't see a wide receiver 1 yet, but
Yeah, I mean, they could pick one up in the draft, right? Like, there's a lot of talented wide receivers coming in, whether they want to go with, like, that's where I wonder if we'll see Paris kind of get the Curtis Samuel treatment. As lazy of a take that may be, them coming from the same school, right? But, if we're just talking about, it's a little lazy, but I mean, Curtis has been, even though people can go talked about his air yards, cool, great. He had all the air yards, but it's not looking good for him right now. And we could see a similar situation for Paris if they bring in, Rashad Bateman or Rondell Moore, like a big time first round talent in that offense again next year. And maybe they transition to Easton a little bit, throw downfield a little bit more. Who knows? And it's hard to say kind of what Paris's future looks if it doesn't work out this year.
I don't want to get too off base here because I know we have to follow these show notes very closely.
Yep.
But Jordan, you
Pick it up,
mentioned
guys.
Curtis Samuel in the air yards, and that's something that people really pointed to. And then when Robbie Anderson, came to Carolina and Teddy Bridgewater, he doesn't want to throw downfield. I think Curtis Samuel, we're going to see him closer to the line of scrimmage a lot this season. And that's kind of what we saw at Ohio State. And I think, we're going to see that more here in 2020. And he was kind of like, we talk about players like Antonio Gibson, Lynn Bowden, those Swiss Army knife type players. I think that's kind of what Curtis Samuel was. And I think we see that more here in 2020. So just a thought I had. Jordan, you brought him up. So I just wanted to throw that
absolutely.
out.
I agree. And I'm really interested to see, but I still don't know, like, we can project, but I don't know if he's going to be the 3rd target or the 5th target. Like, for all we know, he's behind Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. He could be behind Robbie Anderson. He could be behind Ian Thomas, for all we know. We don't know how that offense is going to play out. I hope he gets used because he's a tremendous talent. He has great speed, but everyone on that team is a great talent and has great speed. So it's kind of hard to know how those guys will be used and whether his role will be a deep threat, which is kind of Robbie Anderson's role, or it'll be more of like crossing route type of guy. I really don't know. We're not going to know until we see it happen. But your point, for sure, he could totally be heavily involved. And we see the same thing from Campbell coming into this season, especially playing with Phil.
Forget about the COVID stuff. Have we ever seen a season with so many teams with so many moving pieces? We talked about the Texans. We're talking about the Colts, the Raiders. There's just so many teams that, just like you said, Jordan, we can project as much as we want. It's going to be so unpredictable this season.
Well, just wait until next year with all the running backs. Like, you see the list of free agent running backs.
Yep.
You're talking about salary cap going down next year, more than likely, with decreased revenue, and like half the league's running backs are free agents. We're going to see a lot of craziness next year. And not a lot of running backs really coming into the league that are highly touted. You might see 3 or 4 that come into the league that can maybe be starters, but you think about all those free agent running backs and all ranges, really high end, kind of medium. We're going to see a lot of moving parts next season, but this season, for sure, to your point, has been crazy.
Yeah,
to see everything going on.
And we're so excited about this class in general. Running backs for sure. What if 5 of these running backs to 10 of these running backs end up in this kind of primary role going into next season? I know that's a huge reach for like 10 of them, but 5, I guess, could be realistic, where we're like, oh man, this is the number one guy. And then you're bringing in all those free agents potentially on another spot or the 2021 draft. I mean, man, it's going to be messy. We're running out of space. It's
so many moving parts. And you think about all the people that'll be replaced, right? Like, even people don't really like Mark Ingram, but he could probably start on a team in another contract, right? But he's going to be replaced next year for sure. And, Marlon Mack could be looking for someplace, and Alvin Kamara could be looking for a place, and Aaron Jones, same thing. He could be replaced by AJ Dillon. There's a lot of guys that seemingly aren't going to have homes, but then there'll also be another guy that might move in. So we may just see guys swapping teams basically for the sake of saving a bit of money. Yep. And I'm really interested to see how that's going to go, because it's going to be crazy. There's just too many guys out there. You can even think about Kenyon Drake. Like, if he blows up this year, he's going to want a lot of money, but who's going to pay him?
Right.
No.
Man.
Right?
And
like, who's going to pay these guys? Owners aren't going to want to pay them. They'll pay.
They don't want to pay running backs anymore either. It's the thing.
Is that just diluting every single backfield then when that inherently happens? Are we at the point where it's just like 3 workhorse running backs and that's it? That's all that you get now for the rest of life, because all these guys are coming in.
You basically have to be on a rookie contract or something cheap, because there's just no one wants to pay these guys at all. And you think about if the salary cap does go down and all these teams have already invested in like wide receivers, quarterbacks, whoever, running backs, all these guys are going to get shit contracts, like just terrible, because no one's going to have money to pay them.
And you talk about, and Gabe, sorry about you talk about the folks who have just taken an absolute dump on the Green Bay Packers this offseason. And it just occurred to me today randomly. They've got 4 running backs on the roster, all of them on rookie contracts. So as much as we may not like what they're doing, that's at least one thing that they're getting right. They're not paying running back, right? So I find that really interesting when you talk about, because this goes into an even more fun place. I would like to go, and Gabe, I want to let you fire off whatever shot you had. But when we look at this list, and shout out to you, Dingus, for putting this up here. And I think that Schefter had tweeted something about this today in terms of all these guys coming up for contracts this year. All these guys, like, these are all top 24 running backs. Like, it's crazy to think about. Like if for whatever reason the cap is going to be shrinking, or even if the cap doesn't shrink, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, there's likely going to be one team. I feel like it has continued to happen. There's going to be one team that continues to pay a lot of money for a running back.
And it's going to be Dallas, right? That's what
So somebody's going to get a bag somewhere. All these guys aren't going to just sign for minimums, but then, I have another question I want to ask. But Gabe, was there something else you were going to say?
A couple things I thought of when Dingus put up this list, particularly in relation to Dingus. Trivia question, guys. Dingus has more or less kids that are listed on this free agent running backs. This list right here that's in front of us. It looks like we've got 10. So more or less than 10 kids for Dingus.
I'm going to go more just because that seems crazy.
Pretty sure it's exactly 10, or it's slightly under.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 10 though. I'm pretty sure.
If he has 10, I'd be really surprised that he's found time to pull up that list and actually write it down for us. But well on you, Dingus, if that's the case.
Are we looking at his kids' names, or are these, 2021 free agent running backs? We don't know. Or it just could be a coincidence. He's going to have to do, I honestly can't. I think I know the answer. I think it's over. I think it's 11, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I knew it was around there.
Shout out to Dingus, dude.
Go rally the troops.
I just think,
Oh shit.
Oh my goodness.
13.
13.
My
All right.
goodness.
See, yeah, it was way
Holy
over,
smokes.
way over. It was a bad over.
Way.
We should have used his compiled list here because J Mike, he had another one that said Connor, Hunt, Breida, Cohen, Carson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
put it at 15, and I guess you you eventually have the under, but
Man.
but there's even more here. So yeah, J Mike, I have the same sentiment as you, just like what? But one thing you might see is as far as contracts go, you might see a lot more of the hopefully not franchise tag. I feel like those just suck. They're just so disrespectful to the player. But you
Especially
might see,
running backs.
yeah, absolutely. But you might see more of the Melvin Gordon or Todd Gurley type of deals, where it's just like a 1 or 2 year type of thing for these running backs. And I don't know what that we don't know what that means yet. If they're proving themselves this year or for 2 years and getting an extension or landing in another spot next year, whatever, but that might eventually happen after these rookie contracts eventually expire.
Yeah, I feel like if you've had an injury and you're a rookie running back, like say hello to your next 1 year contract. That's just the way it's going at this point. Like James Conner, sorry, man. Like I could absolutely see that being the case. If you and Chris Carson, same deal. Like I don't see an avenue for them to get long-term contracts anymore.
Yeah, it's like we will run you into the ground.
Basically.
And just like, no hope for all those guys. Good for fantasy, I guess, but
just tell us where you're going.
yeah, just go somewhere good and don't get hurt for like 12 games, and we'll replace you at the end. We'll draft your handcuff.
We're worse than the NFL teams, man.
Yeah,
It's so bad.
For real. And John, you all were talking on Dynasty Theory, and I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. But this conversation with the running backs still has me hanging on the hope that we still have football this season. And I don't know if you all saw the offensive tackle for the Broncos, Ryan Harris. He tweeted something earlier today, I think, where he said, "Hey, we're supposed to report in like 14 days." And there's been no word on a plan or protocol from the league about what practice looks like and all these different things. And then I started sweating. And then I listened to your pod, John, and I'm like, they're talking about contingency plans and how do you run your league if we don't have a season. And like, I think today was the first day where I had to like legitimately ask myself, okay, maybe we're not gonna have a season and this isn't gonna happen. So not just the running back landscape, and we can go in any direction that you all want to talk in this, but how are you all, if you are at all, preparing your teams, your dynasty teams specifically, for what could or could not be with this 2020 season? Like when we look at T.Y. Hilton that we just talked about, a guy like A.J. Green, all these 1 year running backs, how are you all attacking this for your dynasty teams? Because I think that there's somehow, some way, there's value and there's edges to be mined. I don't necessarily know what that would be, but I'm curious to see how you all are navigating that so far.
I'm pretty close to 0 RB for my dynasty teams at this point. I started that a couple 3-4 weeks ago, like just because there's that nagging feeling in the back of your head that, well, if this doesn't happen, and we already talked about the contract situations, which is already ridiculous for all those running backs. So unless I have a real locked in stud, I mean, I'm not selling CMC or Saquon for pennies, obviously, but those other kind of lower tiered guys that have maybe a year left of true top productivity, like a Chris Carson or somebody like that, I'm definitely shipping those guys off of my team. And like, I'll hang out with the Tariq Cohens and the Nyheim Hineses of the world and get some wide receiver depth on my team instead.
Well, Jake, I'm interested to know what you would be moving guys like Chris Carson or even like a James Conner for, because this offseason, obviously it's just so, everything's been amplified, because typically in the offseason, if you're not a rookie coming out, nobody wants you, especially with the way the running back landscape is now. It's like once you have a few years under your belt, you're a veteran, you lose that allure, and there just is no interest. So it's like, if you're willing to take a hit in value, sure, you can move them. And I feel like this season, it's that times 10. So like I said, I would be really interested to know if you've had any luck moving some of these guys, because sorry, Jake, one more thought here. But, on Dynasty Theory this week, when we talked about, fantasy fatigue and contingency plans, I have not really been making any trades in Dynasty leagues. I just kind of want to wait and see. I typically don't do that. I try to be proactive and really get out ahead of any changing values. But right now, none of us know what the heck is going on. And I've just been kind of sitting here waiting. But yeah, Jake, I would love to know if you've had any success moving those guys.
Yeah, actually, I brought up Carson because he's a guy that I did move pretty recently. I'm trying to track down the exact trade here, but it was not obviously as much as I wanted, but I did end up getting a 2022 first round pick. Okay. I had to toss in some lower round picks on my side to kind of sweeten the deal. But I think I honestly think I threw in like 3 fourth round picks on my side as like a sweetener and some fab. And then I know that's a long ways out. The 2022 first round pick obviously isn't, those never look that sexy in the moment. But for those kind of guys, that's exactly what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, no, I feel that. But Jake, I want you to call your shot here. Who are you targeting with that pick?
With that 2022 first?
Yeah, call your shot right here. Who are you targeting?
Yep.
I heard that Nyheim Hines' little brother is applying for that draft. He's not actually playing college ball right now, but he's still tentatively signed up for that. So I'm hoping to get him.
Lazy take.
Lazy take.
What if he signs with the Chargers though? Isn't that like I have to at that point?
You can't even give me like a Breece Hall or no?
Oh,
no,
wow.
I don't know if you guys know this. I have zero expertise in terms of these young college guys. I don't know anything about
and you're trading for these 22 first, not even knowing what you're gonna get.
Yeah, absolutely. I would rather
whatever works for you.
I would rather reach my hand into that box that might be filled with snakes or it might be filled with lollipops at this point, and I'm just hoping that I get a lollipop, man.
And the good news is
George Pickens,
the good news is that you have time for it to mature, and in all likelihood, the closer, the more that you're willing to wait on it, the more lollipop build into it in terms of snakes.
I could sell that pick right now for 1.5 lollipops, or I could wait until 2022 and I'm on the clock and I could sell it for 4, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. Like I probably won't even use that pick, which is often my strategy anyhow.
Yeah. You're already looking on to 2024 at that point.
That's exactly right.
Well, the 2021 guys might actually be 2022 guys. Some of them, if they what you were talking about, the salary cap, Jordan, that they don't want to come out in 2021 because they're going to get paid trash. So they're going to wait a year, and because of COVID, they didn't get to play a season anyway. So I don't know. Maybe they want to stay another year if they can. I don't know who's eligible for that, but
wait. So that's a really good point, and something we talked about this week this is for any of you guys. Is there any interest in taking your 2021 picks and looking to roll them forward to 2022 and gain additional value in draft capital? Because what if there are those underclassmen that could potentially come out in 2021 and the salary cap dips drastically? We already saw it with Hubbard and Travis Etienne this year, guys that went back. So what if we see that influx again of guys that could potentially come out and they don't, strictly because of the cap situation? Have you guys thought about that at all?
Well, what I would say in regards to that, and I know that I've actually talked with some of our patrons about that a lot, and I would actually be buying first, like as much as I could, because those guys you're talking about, they're not going to make that mistake again. You look at Chuba Hubbard, Travis Etienne, they're killing themselves right now,
right? Yep.
Because they made a terrible decision. And if we're talking about second round picks, maybe trading some of those away for a bit more proven talent could be a way to gain value in the long term. But those first, like all the first round picks are studs. They're going to be rolling out. Like you're going to see Trevor Lawrence come out. Trey Lance is coming out. Justin Fields is coming out. Rondale Moore, Jamar Chase, like Chuba Hubbard, Travis Etienne. Like all these guys are definitely coming out. So there's no, at least for me, I'm not concerned they're going to come out because they're going to be so good. There's no reason for them to stay back in college. Even if they don't play, people are going to draft them high because they've seen them do things that are just amazing. So at least for me, for the first round, I'd be holding on and even buying those picks for sure.
And it almost feels like that's the catch-22 to what you all mentioned a few minutes ago, is that even if we are moving away from so we've got these running backs and all these guys, questionable kind of how if a year off is going to affect them or the last year of their contracts and all these things, and we want to try to extract all this value that we can. But even if we try to flip it to the 21 picks, we've got guys who may not even have a season this season. While okay, it keeps them fresh on one hand, but then we're also looking at it. It's an entire year off from football. If that's going to be the case, how does that come in if we're looking at two rookie classes, a rookie and a sophomore class, all vying for all this space and air and opportunity? And it's like, this is a jumbled mess. But you don't, at least for me, like all the names that you listed, Jordan, all the names that y'all been talking through with all gas and everything that's going on in Destination Devi, like it almost feels like there's no way for me, at least that I can tell right now, that I'm not getting out of the 21 draft. You couldn't give me enough to get out of 21 because
there's too many guys. There's just too many.
Like I already loved ETN, right? I loved him, and then he broke my heart and went back to school. It's like, okay, I'll wait a year, but I'm gonna be here for you when you come back. And then with all the wide receivers, like this class is stupid.
You nailed it, right? Like, how are you going to pass on these guys? And we're just fantasy owners. We just want it for their production on the field. But if you look at all these coaches in the NFL, they want them too. Like, they've been waiting for these guys since they were freshmen. A lot of these guys had spectacular freshman seasons, spectacular sophomore seasons. Like, you look at Jamar Chase, man, do you think a coach is going to not take him in the first round because he didn't play? Or do you think he's going to go back to college after winning the Biletnikoff Award? There's no way. There's no way. So you want to be trading out of these picks because, and another guy who people kind of sleep on a little bit because he got hurt is Tylan Wallace. He's another guy who didn't come out because he got hurt, but he's going to come out the second he can, and teams still going to remember what he did at Oklahoma State playing with Chuba Hubbard. There's lots of guys like that. Seth Williams could still come out. There's just an abundance of talent. Even there's tight ends that people don't even know about, like Pat Freiermuth and there's just tons of guys that are going to need to come out for sure. And they want to get that payday too, as much as some guys want to stay back, maybe get a little bit higher draft capital. A lot of guys want that payday. They need that, especially with what's going on. We don't know what their families are going through. We don't know any of their situations. So they may be forced to kind of come out sooner than they hope. But I'm sure a lot of them want to get to the NFL where they get better facilities, they get treated a little bit better. But we'll see. College is going to be a rocky season this year for sure, but the NFL should play on because it's just too much money at stake. There's just no way they don't play.
Man. I am, man. and John, I blame / thank you, because this is not something that I had thought about until today. Literally, I was finishing my work day and I was listening to you all talk through this, and I was like, man, you just ruined my whole day, man.
And so much of it was just pure speculation and what ifs. Like, I think I said what if at least 50 times during that show, and it's just so much uncertainty. And like I said, that's one of the reasons that I haven't really been active in my dynasty leagues and making moves, because the quote I had was, I'm going to feel like a little kid on Christmas Eve, and then you wake up the next morning and that gift isn't there. And it would just break my heart. I would be so upset.
Man.
It's unfortunate too, because there's nothing that I love more than stupid off-season trading in dynasty leagues. There's nothing that gets me more juiced up than just cracking open the laptop and making a really dumbass trade that I didn't need to make based on pure speculation. But this speculation is too much for me. It's too much for me to even make a lot of super rational decisions outside of kind of bailing on some of these guys that I just don't see a really great future for beyond this year. If this year shuts down, I don't know what a lot of that looks like with some of these, like I said, kind of higher tier running backs that have immediate value but have nothing after that. Same with a Phillip Rivers kind of guy. and maybe even Cam Newton. I don't know if we want to toss that wrench into this either, but it's like what happens with him if there's no season. I don't know. It's all scary. I don't like it.
It's uncharted waters.
Yeah. I can handle, 6 months of off season is great. We here at the open bar, definitely enjoy the off season far more than in season. Like we don't even know what to talk about in season. Like, and that's when all the things kind of happen, but we don't even care. So, 6 months is great, but 18 months, J Mike, we might break up. We might turn this into like a TV series and like, leave y'all hanging at the end of season 3 here in August. And what will Gabe and J Mike do? They just couldn't agree on Ronald Jones.
Can you guys transition this into a Gilmore Girls rewatch podcast? If there's no season, can you just smoothly just turn it? I don't know. It seems like you guys already have the base knowledge for it, and I'd be very excited to hear what you have to say about Rory and company.
So you're trying to give us a draft right now, is what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, okay, draft 101 through 105, the Gilmore Girls. All right, we'll do it right here, and you compare that Gilmore girl to a player that you either like or dislike or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's what I thought. All right. I'm going to have to Google Gilmore Girls because I know nothing about that. Is this, or maybe you could just do 101 through 105, Jake? Would that be cool? Or we could just wing this too. I could totally read some bios.
Let's wing it. Let's go around.
Let's wing it. Okay. Jake, you probably honestly know the most about this though. That's what I'm going to guess because you brought it up.
It's probably 100%. A near certainty that's true.
Yeah,
Do I get the 101?
No, you're getting the 101 for sure. Okay. You might even get the 102. But if unless we, if the 102 doesn't have time to think about it. Look at us Googling shit over here. Jordan.
I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Jake, take your sweet ass time, but we're about to do a draft right now. Okay. So 101 through 105. All right. You pick your Gilmore girl and you compare that Gilmore girl to current NFL player. Your comparison's up to you. All right. So Jake, perfect. 101, you are on the clock. Gilmore Girls draft. Let's go.
Okay. This is a super easy one. I'll expound on it a little bit so that you guys have some time to research before you get on the clock here. But it's a pretty easy choice for me. It's Lorelai Gilmore. She is the mom Gilmore, Lauren Graham. Not only is she in my top 5 instantaneously for this draft, but she's in my top 5 for my list of ladies that me and my fiance, you have your list of 5 freebies. She's also on that list. So if she's on that list and on this list, she's the guaranteed 101. She is getting to be a little bit more of a mature lady at this point in her life, but it's not enough for me to take her off my draft board. So if we want to look at her like I'm going to say like the Aaron Rodgers of this draft for me, then getting up there, but still going to provide some level of consistency for me.
Mm-hmm.
Can dig that.
Can you expound on that a little bit? Like, there's probably some more you could say about it, right? Like just a little bit more. Like
absolutely. Like she's really good at avoiding sacks. Also, Lorelai Gilmore is. You never once see her get sacked on the show. I'm positive of it. Some near misses, but she never really goes down. She can carry an episode. Like she would carry a team or a fantasy season, or both. And she looks great in knee pads.
All right.
I was going to say the same thing. If you weren't going to add that at the end, that's what I was going to say. So I'm glad you said it. And
I'm glad our tape grinding matched up.
Yes. See? Okay. That is the 101. Who was it again? Lorelai.
That's Lorelai Gilmore.
Lorelai Gilmore, the Aaron Rodgers of the Gilmore Girls. All right. Bauer, you kind of seem pretty confident about this, so I'm going to hit you next. You're the 102. Who do you got for your Gilmore girl?
I have not looked anything up. I haven't jumped on Google to look up any of the characters. But Jake, if I mess any of this up, please correct me if I'm wrong. But back in the day, I've seen a few episodes of Gilmore Girls, and with the 102, I think this is going to be it's going to be a curveball. I might be reaching here, but I'm going with I'm taking the grandpa, right? So the very little information I have, he's reliable. He is the true supporter, and he's a little bit older, but he's very wise. And just the way he supports so many people on that show, it's the same way that Tom Brady is going to support two potential wide receiver ones in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. I know you've mentioned Ronald Jones, but the answer is Keyshawn Vaughn. And I think that so I'm going with the grandpa at 102, and it's Tom Brady.
You're right, and sometimes you got to reach. You gotta get your guys. So
I had to get my guy,
man. You got to do it.
I like that.
Get your guy. All right, Jay Rich.
Man, okay, I don't know if I'm on the board or off the board, but that was a reach in my pre-draft rankings. So I'm gonna take Lane Kim.
No,
Lane
that was
Kim
the one I
is,
googled.
yeah, sorry, she's number 2 on the ranks, so I gotta have to roll with her. She is brilliant, bold, and brave. Apparently, she's also Asian. For those not googling it out,
Let go.
but I'm comparing her to Michael Thomas because he roasted Will Smith over the weekend, and it made me fucking laugh out loud. So I'm going with Lane Kim, 103, compared to Michael Thomas, who is the best receiver in football and one of the funniest personalities on Twitter.
Okay. I mean, the thing is I was researching into Lane Kim myself, and I would have said the same thing because that's the only person I was looking into. So we're going to have to spitball here and try another one.
Lane Kim also has the surest hands of that entire cast. So I really do think that's a pretty solid pick. She'll get you from scene to scene too. If you need somebody, she just has to pick up a few seconds to get you into that next scene. It's going to be Lane Kim, so she's like the security blanket there. I dig it.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Great on third down.
Great on third down. Oh, J Mike. Is it going to be
so
you?
Happy I have you tilting. This is fantastic.
Is it going to be you or me? Because I'm
I think you're on the clock, man.
Am I on the clock?
All I know is that we have a reach at 102, and that's I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
Oh wait, J Mike, I got it. All right, J Mike, can I go?
Let's
Yeah,
see.
you can go.
All right, so let's do this. Rory Gilmore. All right, you may know her from the Gilmore Girls. All right, she is Laura. Word. She is Lorelai's daughter. Okay. Little did you know, Gilmore.
I can't believe she slipped to 104. To be honest,
I
with
know.
you.
No, she look. Jake was bold in taking her mother first, and I applaud you for that. But boy, you missed out on a good one here in Rory. Okay, so Rory Gilmore. All right, she really holds the show together. If we want to be honest, all right. But the thing is you don't exactly know that. All right, so she's pretty introverted. All right, a bit socially awkward. So it's not like she's, super outgoing in the show. She just kind of does what needs to get done for it to carry out and carry through however many seasons that have gone on for the Gilmore Girls. Are they still going?
There was a rehash season that came out last year. They came back for one more go round.
Yes. Oh wait, I think I saw that. I think I saw like they had what was the tagline for that? Was that what it was? One more.
I don't know. I hope so.
All right.
One last go round.
one last go round. All right.
Gilmore Girls, The Last Dance.
Yeah.
The
last. Okay, now I got you. All right, so underrated. All right, but main character holding it together. All right, but kind of quiet. Who other than what else does he have to do, J Mike?
Oh, let's go.
Mike Evans, okay? Dude just comes through year after year after year and gets 1,000-yard seasons racked up. Doesn't matter who his QB is, okay? It doesn't matter if the God is across from him in the wide receiver core. It doesn't matter. He just puts up 1,000-yard seasons. But does he get respect for it? Not really. He's still kind of at the bottom end of rankings for ADP or of dynasty and redraft, wherever you want to put him. He's bottom or the latter half of top 10. The disrespect is real, and Godwin's already going light years ahead of him. It just ain't right. Okay. So he's holding the show together. He's holding the Bucks together. He's holding wide receivers together. There's no other answer than Rory is Mike Evans.
And what we have here, Gabe, is just a classic youth versus experience argument here between Rory and Lorelai. But I think we both fell on the appropriate side of it, and I don't think we need to come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Jake coming in clutch with the commentary.
I know you got to correct things to make sure that it makes sense.
Yeah, I felt like my take really just got slid through, and he didn't really comment on it. No matter how wrong it was, I kind of just rolled with it. And I was pretty appreciative of that.
All right, J Mike, you've had the opportunity to milk this for four picks now. You better have a good one.
I had mine at about 103, and
better not be lazy.
No, this is I'll do my best here. So I am going with one Sookie St. James. Sookie St. James, probably more famously known as Melissa McCarthy. Now, you may or may not have known that Melissa McCarthy was on Gilmore Girls, but actually, according to this, out of the 154 episodes of Gilmore Girls, Melissa McCarthy was in 153 of them.
Ooh.
Now, again, this is from 2000 to 2007. This is before the height of Melissa McCarthy being everywhere and in everything in the 2010s, right? Where she's in the Ghostbusters Jones, she's in the Bridesmaids. She's doing her thing all over the place. She was everywhere at one point, and her star was huge. But it took a while to get there because she wasn't properly placed in a role to really get her to the heights that she needed to be until later in her career. So Miss Sookie St. James is actually Devontae Parker. Miscast early on in the career, but needed some time, needed some seasoning, needed some air, some opportunity. And when the time was right, 5 years later, when the time was right, when Sookie St. James was ending in 2007, it just took 5 more years, and all of a sudden we saw Melissa McCarthy be the star that we knew that she could be. Same with Devontae Parker. We had all these high hopes for many years, and we kept, I'm not sure I'm feeling it. I don't know what's going on for real. And hey, 5th year breakout, we see what the man's up to. We see that he can deliver the goods on a really atrocious situation, some really bad writing in some of the movies that Melissa's been in, but she still shines. And that's exactly what Devontae Parker did in 2019. Sookie St. James, Devontae Parker, my 105, the absolute steal of the draft. I rest my case. Jake, I fall at the feet of you for the Sookie St. James assessment.
It's a fantastic pick. I don't know who else you could have possibly put in the 105 slot. Maybe a Luke. If you're a Luke fan, you could go that route. But I love what you're saying about Sookie. And yeah, the first 4 seasons, she was a role player. She was good. She was fine. She'd pop into a scene here and there, and it'd be all right. You didn't hate it. But that 5th season, when she was there consistently, and she became that integral best friend role, that you see not just in the background, but in the forefront. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Some of y'all are Sam Hinkie, and others are, I don't know, Bill Belichick. And I see myself as Bill Belichick in this draft. You guys just kind of took inferior, and I just traded back, good value. clutch pull. You know, it's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? Shout out B Hartley.
Interesting.
Clutch. You know what I'm saying?
until Corey Davis comes through this year and replaces
Hey,
your
man,
boy.
cut that out, man.
All right.
Yeah, I really like that whole thing you spun until you talked about the change of scenery, and then it kind of fell flat. When you talked about Devontae Parker, I'm like, well, he's still in Miami, but the rest of it was excellent. It was amazing. You were like really reeling me in. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get it, he's gonna nail it. And then you said Devontae Parker. I was like, what? He's still in Miami.
That was easily one of the more fun drafts that we've had in a while, Gabe, because none of us knew anything.
That was really difficult.
Yeah, someone just scroll back to me like frantically looking. I'm like, where are these rankings? Like, who am I gonna find?
Yeah, I was literally reading about what I already forgot her name. Was it Lane Kim?
Yeah,
I was literally reading about her the entire 101 through 103, and because I didn't think that you would pick her, I just thought she was kind of like a.
She's number 2 on my ranks. I had to.
I don't know how.
And I couldn't take Rory. That's chalk. I
know that was chalk. I was. Yeah. Once they have a last name of Gilmore, I think it's.
Yeah, it's chalk.
Yeah.
Those Gilmore Girl rankings, they're only found at patreon.com/allgas.
I'll have to add them to the Patreon for sure. Patreon.com/allgas. Lane Kim 102. Trust me.
Yeah.
You won't regret it. We'll get the Gilmore Girl discussion popping.
Now I have to go back and watch this now. I'm legitimately going to watch the show. Thank you, Jake.
It's so amazing.
I'm just happy for all of you guys that now you get to experience it.
I know.
So
well,
good.
now I feel like we're kind of obligated to go and binge the Gilmore Girls and report back next week with.
It's happening.
I feel really bad. I haven't seen an episode, but now I'm all in. I'm there.
And Jake, you're right about Lauren Graham. She's a beautiful woman.
She's wonderful.
Is that Lorelai?
The one and only.
Yes.
All right. I don't. Yep. Got it.
But before we get ready to kick rocks, I do have a trade I want to ask you guys about.
Oh, did you put it into the dynastytradecalculator.com, the official trade calculator of the open bar?
I did not. But I was sent this offer. And I'll let you all choose the side. It's 12 teams, Superflex. Superflex doesn't really matter in this instance, but it's always fun to say things that don't matter in actual trades. So you all tell me the side that you choose. Sony Michel and Chase Edmonds or DJ Chark?
Chark.
Same. Chark for sure.
Yep.
Once you said Sony, it could have been almost anything else on the other side. No, but yeah, Chark.
Okay, great. Let me go accept this trade right now.
I was going to say, is that the side you're getting?
That is the side. I'd be kidding.
Yeah, I like that.
Shout out to
And
James.
I'm not even a big Chark guy, but I think that's pretty good value.
Yeah. You got to be big fans of Edmonds and Michelle to make that trade, I guess. Like I am sort of on the side of like, if you can sell Shark for the right price and maybe it's his peak in terms of value, maybe I'm with it, but I don't know if that's it. I mean,
I think the thing about it is, or what I find most intriguing real quick is that what does Sony look like with Cam Newton? I think that'll be interesting to see. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if the Patriots, obviously the Patriots likely aren't re-signing him unless he's going to sign for below market value or whatever his market value would be if he excels this season, however that looks. But I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued with New England, but DJ Chark, that's for those you guys don't know this, but last season Gabe and I actually he came up here to Cincinnati and we caught the Bengals versus the Jaguars. We're both Jaguars fans. And seeing DJ Chark in person, well, first off, seeing Gabe in person for the second time and him actually staying in my home was just like time of my life stuff. But the DJ Chark in person, he I don't know many people who just look wildly different than they looked in college, but DJ Chark in college looked real string bean, real like just not much to him. Dude's dude, he's thick. DJ Chark is a thick dude, and he's huge and fast. And that's when I fell in love. Was at that game. He was so good, and yeah, I'm a believer. So that's all. So accepting that trade now. Thank you guys for being my calculator.
Will this finally be the Jaguars wide receiver that holds on to value past 1 year?
I don't know, man.
I mean, Allen Robinson kind of did, but then he had the injured year and then was traded. So he basically counts for the 1 year of value in Jacksonville. Just
I think it
brutal.
depends on what your definition of value is, because you could argue that Dede still has some moderate value, or he has for a couple of years. I mean, obviously not in upper echelon or near that territory, but I don't know, he has flex value, I guess.
I actually like Dede. He was banged up throughout 2019. You have to figure that team, they're going to have a lot of negative game scripts. They're going to be throwing the ball. And Dede Westbrook, if he's healthy, maybe he surprises some of us.
Because he was tracking in targets with Chark pretty well, at least when I was looking at it earlier in the season last year. Like it wasn't like Chark was just like outshining from a targets perspective. He was just working with the targets that he got. So I'm curious to see how that shakes out. And Visca obviously is in there now, and it's all sorts of craziness. John Gruden, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But hopefully Chark maintains. Anywho, thank you guys for the help there.
J Mike, I was going to say real quick on you said, I don't know what Sony Michel looks like next to Cam Newton. Well, picture this. Cam Newton's been with what? D'Angelo Williams, all right? Jonathan Stewart, Christian McCaffrey, all really good running backs, all right? So if you want to go back to the, Eckler versus Hines conversation, why aren't we comparing Michel to that of D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and or Christian McCaffrey? So maybe you should be on the Michel side.
I already accepted the trade. Wow. This is anti-clutch by you.
Buyer's remorse.
Similar to your 104 pick in the Gilmore Girls draft.
Excuse me. You liked it. You said we're a Mike Evans pod. Why would you disrespect me like that?
No, I'm merely disrespecting that you took the lesser Gilmore girl. But that's neither here nor there.
Wait, how many? No. Wait, hold on. How many Gilmore girls are there actually? Like with the last name of Gilmore?
Technically, there's 3 because the grandma is also there. You could have went Grandma Gilmore.
Okay, so I took the third. I took the third Gilmore. J Mike, come on, really?
I mean,
why you gotta disrespect Grandma like that?
Yeah,
Grandma's trash. I'm gonna say Grandma's trash.
Oh, Grandma's trash. Okay, all right. Well,
fact check.
Is she even a third round value, or is that even a reach there?
Grandma's Nyheim Hines.
I'm going to let somebody else deal with her. It's just too volatile. I would never want that on my roster.
Too much of an injury history, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Brandon Cooks or Will Fuller? I need a take here.
Where's Kent? Is it third period yet of his hockey game?
Out there getting checked, probably.
A game or a match?
He's gonna. I don't know. It's a good question.
Should be a game.
I like hockey. I'm just not really educated in the sport. I just like to watch.
Oh, you do? Hockey's kind of boring.
I mean,
that's all right.
It's a lazy take, but
it's just not my favorite.
Playoff hockey is fun to watch. I do enjoy
playoff hockey. Is really good. Really good.
Hockey's probably one of my favorite sports to be live.
It's a lot more fun live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. I mean, since we're starting to talk about hockey, we better not do that anymore.
So what sticks to you guys? Like, do you have a preference there? Or? I prefer composite myself, but
Easton stick.
Yes, you know I know way too much about hockey.
I have to go with the Bauer brand. I have to.
Oh, there you go.
You know what?
There you go.
Flex.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll go with the Easton. I'll go with the Easton.
This is what we built up to right here, the Bauer. All right, so that's it, J Mike, huh? Anything else? I mean, we got through 2 offenses that we think are disrespected. They're both in the AFC South. That's only 2 teams, man. So 30 more, right?
Stop.
All right. Well, we talked about the Jaguars a little bit. That Didi's apparently disrespected. Come on.
We'll have to get John to check the show sheet for us to see if we missed anything.
Yeah,
Anything else, John?
that's true. Is there anything else? Are we good for?
No, I'm gonna have to sit down, review this tomorrow morning, and I'll get back to you guys.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. And with that, we will do some outros then. We'll have some fun, say goodbye, say hello if you never got a chance. We'll start with somewhat of the same order. Well, pretty much the same order because Kent quit on us. But Bauer, John, a rookie, you came through, you made a show sheet. All right. You drafted Grandpa at 102. This was an electrifying night for you. It was great to have you on. Feel free to share what you need to share about yourself or anything in general.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I kind of regret going with Grandpa at 102 now, and I'm probably going to think about this one for a while. But, I'm one of the hosts of the Dynasty Theory fantasy football show on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast Network. And then just find me on Twitter at the Bauer Club and then follow our show at Dynasty Theory FF. Guys, this was an absolute blast. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And
Gabe, nobody wants to see my face that big. So if I ever jump back on, don't do that again.
J Mike, I'm going to take this one for you. Yes, sir. Okay. 104 brothers. Hey, we didn't get to compare our teams, dude. Who'd you take at 104?
I took Lamar. I wanted Barkley to slip, but I went with Lamar. And looking back on it, the way it played out, I probably would have gone Zeke if I could do it again. But yeah.
Let's say hypothetically it was Zeke or Mahomes there. Who would you pick?
I mean, at the time, I still probably would have gone the quarterback, so I probably would have gone Mahomes. Who did you take?
But you're a hedge type of guy, so 3 rounds later you'd be like, yeah, I probably would have gone Zeke though.
Yeah, ask me tomorrow and I'll flip it back. Don't worry.
Yeah, I did. That was my decision, and I ended up taking Zeke.
Yeah.
I did wait. My idea is that if I did take Zeke before Mahomes, is that I was definitely going to wait on running back forever. And I did that for the most part. I think my next running back was like Dobbins, like RB 30, 31 or something. But it felt weird not taking Mahomes, I guess. Whatever. We'll see. It's fun. SFB, baby.
Yes, sir.
Jake, I don't think we came up with much of a bridge for you. I kind of pictured you more as like a spades player. So maybe Jake Spades, you call it a spade, but maybe you play bridge, you kind of hyped up Grandma Gilmore, that whole thing. I don't know. Is that your vibe? Nonetheless, happy to have you on the show tonight. Feel free to share whatever you need to share.
I'm more of a canasta guy myself. I've always been big on the canasta, but that's pretty much my vibe in a nutshell. I'm a co-host of Drinking and Talking Fantasy Football. You can find that on all of the major podcast platforms, and maybe on some cassette tapes hanging around as well. We like to be underground. So we've got some sweet new podcasts dropping here soon. You can also find the podcast at Drinking Fantasy on Twitter. You can find me at Jake Trowbridge on Fantasy, constantly repping Lorelai Gilmore.
LLG, or is it 2 names? Is it 1 name? Lorelai? Is that? I don't know.
It's 1 name, but your abbreviation sounds cool enough that I think we could stretch it.
L2G. All right. Jake, I'm sorry that we didn't bring this up, but I mean, as far as like the drinking combination of football and fantasy, whatever, like that's kind of what this vibe is. So, I mean, for one, like, why aren't you a part of this show more frequently?
I think it's because J Mike has it out against me.
That's
and
true.
I know that you had to go over his head to get me on the podcast anyways for tonight. So I can't make you do that every week. No, I'm just kidding. This was incredible. This is exactly what I love to do. So I'm super glad you guys brought me on.
Yeah, no, and all three of you guys are. I was telling John that I don't know who I follow necessarily. I don't keep track of Twitter very well, but and with the algorithm on Twitter, that kind of seems like they show like who you don't follow anyway. Like so and so liked this tweet, and you just get to like chime in and like it as well or whatever. But like all three of you guys, just you all bring a different kind of brand to the table, and it's been entertaining to watch, and I'm glad that we could have this kind of dynamic here tonight. So.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, I should usually say that after Jordan goes, but had to fit it in there. So, Jordan, dude, give me your breakdown of the Six Lack album. We need it. We need it.
Oh man. Okay, so guys, here's the thing. Starts off with ATL freestyle.
Yep.
Holy shit. It is good. Just listen to it. You guys, I'm telling you, it's amazing. Just little intro gets you started. Then the next song, Long Nights. I don't love it, to be honest. It's a good song. I don't love it. But then you get into, what's the next song? Oh, it's Float. Man, Float is like the biggest vibe. I was telling Gabe we talked about that song in DMs when it came out. Biggest vibe. Then you have Know My Rights with Lil Baby. Lil Baby kills the feature. And then you have, what's the one? Oh, Elephant in the Room. That song is dope. And then you have Outside, which is cool because it's like talking about, oh, who am I going to see when I go outside because of all the quarantine stuff. So he really touches on like the present times. Honestly, just go listen to Black. He's a dope artist. If you don't listen to him, you should. If you don't know who I am, because most people don't, only really like fantasy people know who I am because they've seen something I've done. You know, you could follow me on Twitter at your boy J Rich. You could follow my partners at Destination Devi, Ray GQ, and Jared Wackerly, who just joined the team. You can follow our Patreon, patreon.com/allgas. And then now, actually, I launched my own website. You can go check it out. It's linked in my bio if you want to check that out, because now I'm going to start doing more like media stuff, graphic design, videography, photography, more locally, but I'm sure people will reach out to me. And if you want any graphics done or anything, let me know. Maybe I can help you out with that. Other than that, man, you know, like I'm doing stuff at Fade the Noise now, which launched last week, which is pretty cool. If you're into sports betting, definitely go check out Fade the Noise. They have tons of like super accomplished DFS guys, sportsbook people, tons of great writers, great team. Derek Brown, who hopped in the chat, D-Bro, he's part of the team. He has his own podcast on there called Fade the Chalk. Check that out. Lots and lots of good stuff going on for sure. And thank you guys so much for having me, by the way. I didn't even mention that, but thank you. It was an awesome time.
Absolutely. No, and about that like kind of niche market that you're in for what you're doing. First of all, what you're doing is dope. All right. Anything that y'all see on Twitter as far as like the edits and video edits that Ray has is all Jordan. So
some of it. Don't go crazy. I don't need Ray coming after me.
I know because no, Ray is a personality on his own.
Ray does his own editing for the most part. For the most part, of his own editing. But if you see like the graphic stuff, that's usually stuff I design. That's where I kind of all the graphic stuff I usually design. Yeah. Absolutely. Anything you see, I've probably touched at some point for sure.
For sure. Yeah, that's it. But anyway, the niche that you're in will easily just gravitate elsewhere because of the community that we're in and people just supporting people and getting you to other outlets and things. So
absolutely.
I've certainly felt that with the music sense of things and people trying to get me to do things. So I'm sure it would happen with you. Guys, this is what you've been waiting for all night. All right. Look, one thing about the open bar, man, we go full circle no matter what. Full puck. Okay. Let's get it. We've got K-Dub back. Kent, what's good?
The closer.
I'm cruising in my car back from the arena. Scored a goal today. Lost 5-1 though, so that was pretty awful. Had to jump back in the truck. What's that?
Said you buried the lead.
Yeah, I buried the lead a little, but hey, you got to jump back on the open bar when you got the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So, about 5 minutes out from my house right now. Thought I'd swing back in, come full circle, just like Gabe said.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, quick question. What is your stick of choice?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of a budget shopper when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Me
I
too.
don't necessarily go for a certain brand. I go for what's on sale. I'm a smart shopper like that. So
Would you? I mean, we do have
Two hedgers now on the show.
Yeah, two hedgers. Yeah. Two hedgers. Right.
It truly is the Bauer Hedge Club. It really is.
Bauer Hedge
You got a
Club.
club now.
I
Bauer
can
Hedge
tell
Club.
you I am not using a Bauer stick, which is a brand of
See?
hockey stick. So I'm sorry, Bauer, I'm not using your brand.
It's fine. I understand. I can't say it doesn't hurt, but I understand. I get it.
That's what I was trying to bait you into, but yeah, okay. So no Bauer, no bets unless it's a hedge. All right, J Mike. Well, Kent. I guess Kent. You want to share? You want to share something, man? We'll give you a chance to do your little outro thing. What do you got to say?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so I jumped in when you guys starting to roll up yours. So you can find me on Twitter. It's at KentWire. I spell that super Germanly. I'm now writing for PFF, Fantasy Football Teams. I just started that this year. Doling out some articles for them during the season. So look out for that. I got an article dropping tomorrow morning out over on PFF Fantasy. So, yeah, other than that, I'm just kind of swinging around on Twitter, dropping terrible takes and spreadsheets mostly.
Yep, I can definitely agree with at least part of that. No, Ken, I'm happy that you came back, man. And we are genuinely bummed that you couldn't make it for the full 3 periods of the open bar, but we'll definitely take you for the first half of the first and the last half of the third.
Hey, you got to have a closer, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, J Mike, on to you, my friend. What do you got to say?
Such a fun night, man. I've got this ridiculous little makeshift headband on, ties in the back. I cut up a pair of sweatpants, old sweatpants that were like ratty at the bottom, made them sweat shorts. My kids got a big kick out of it, and I made this little headband from it. And I just now realized that I'm still wearing that from earlier today, being a fool with them. So shout out to my girls. This is bad. Anywho, to our guests, I'm grateful to be able to spend this time with you all. Kent, thank you for joining us again. Your dedication to our podcast knows no bounds. So appreciate that. Jordan, it's nice to be able to talk with you longer form. I've been able to just a few interactions on Twitter. You're a real treat. And I definitely enjoy everything that you all are doing over there at Destination Devi. And the fact that I didn't even know y'all got Jared, which is huge. I have way more questions about that, but that's amazing. I'm glad to hear that he's on the squad too.
It's newer, but
okay.
That's another one that I need to go over your head, J Mike, and have him come hang with us.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta do better. Apparently, I feel like I'm, you know what, Gabe? I feel like you're coming for my spot, man. Dang. Jake, I wasn't even following you. Honestly, I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't even. I literally found during the show, was like, wait, what? Because I know that I've seen you in these Twitter streets, and I'm super disappointed. So rectified that. Pleasure to speak with you this evening now, and I certainly hope that you get to feeling better, man, from your sickness and everything else that you're bouncing back from. And the Gilmore Girls was clutch. That's out of all the random drafts that we do, that one shines through. That's a good one. So thank you for that. Very much. Thank you for that, Bauer. Again, someone that I've had a few interactions with on Twitter, but to be able to talk with you and obviously put a face with the name from the Dynasty Theory podcast. And I'm grateful to be able to chop it up with you as well. So thank you for that. This was a real treat, therapeutic even. Thank you all very much to the chat. Appreciate you all joining us. I will not delay this outro any longer. I'm on Twitter at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. Show's handles at the Open Bar Pod. And you can find, obviously, everywhere podcasts are. If you're listening to this in podcast form, you could be anywhere in the world doing anything, but you took 2 hours to listen to 6 folks have a lot of nonsense and fun about a season that may or may not happen. So we appreciate that very well. We don't take that lightly at all. My main man, host with the most, FF Ding Dong. Mr. Gearing, if you nasty. Bungie,
Ding dong.
Genius to MC. I got nothing else right now. At FF Man Bun on Twitter. Gabe. Major shout out to everyone in our charity leagues for that as well, man. Appreciate y'all. We're wrapping up ours in the J Mike division. I know the Genius division still grinding too, but we've got just a group of 26, including us, to 28 total, but 26 people really going out there and having a lot of fun for a lot of great causes. So cannot shout you all out enough. But Gabe, sorry, that's enough of me talking. Take us home.
Oh, big news. Big news here. FF Ding Dong is available on Twitter for the taking. I might just start over the brand, J Mike. I might switch from Man Bun to Ding Dong, man.
Daisy Gang.
Daisy Gang. Indeed. We need to yeah. Jake, you might have to throw us an emoji that would represent the Gilmore Girls to generalize it somehow. You can think about it, sit on it tomorrow, like Bauer is for the show sheet. So, yeah, that's it, man. Sure. Yeah. Shout out to the charity leagues, all of them, really. John Bosch doing eliminators, Scott Fish Bowl. Okay. Ryan McDowell, I know, is a huge part in that. Go donate, keep donating. Fantasy cares. A lot of people are just doing things for it. Hashtag doing things. Genius division in that open bar charity league is definitely going to take down the J Mike division. Ain't no question about it. Even though we're all by Kent, that we're all drafting the same players, but yeah. That's it. J Mike has a show or two. I'm wearing one of the shows. That's why you got to be here in live form to come and check it out. Dynasty Dummies, the Dummy Blitz, Dummy Blitz, hadn't done one for a while. Probably won't because there won't be an NFL season. But if there's not an NFL season, there's still J Mike's Journal. So go check that out. Whenever that drops, always looking forward to those. As far as me, intros. Been working those. Shout out to a few podcasts that I've been working on. The docket, DFS docket. Shout out to Sideline Squib. That's kind of a side squib, a side gig for them. That was fun. Casey, of course, Casey and JJ. I think it's just play. Yeah, man. Just grinding out intros. People keep asking too, and I guess I'll just keep making them. So, thanks. But it is tough. It's tough when I'm rapping with the newborn in one arm. That's for sure. We can't make shirts right now, but we like these stickers that we have. If you're still kicking with us in video form, these are what those look like. There's an analog and a digital for the words ish, because that's what we do. Ish. We are always here. Ish. We are always talking fantasy. Ish. We are the ish. So they are technically on our store, the openbar.storeenvy.com, but I've really just been doing it kind of through like Google Forms, where you just give me your address. So I'm just going to send you some weird stuff. I'm just kidding. I'm going to send you stickers. But if you want one of those, DM me or something. All right. Bauer, Jordan, Jake, since you're we're literally the only people here now. So we're just talking to each other. We're not live anymore. We're not live. I just kidding. We're live. All right. Drinks up. That's it, guys. J Mike, we're off next week. I want you to remember that we're off next week. Okay. It's not that you have to go and, scrounge up some guests. Okay. They don't even have to be new guests. They don't have to be old guests. They don't have to be no guests. Okay. Because no show next week. 2 weeks from now, we're back. We've got, oh my gosh, you won't even believe what 2 weeks from now the show is going to be. We have so much planned. You're just going to have to be here to find out, though. Holy cow. Boy, howdy. Golly gee, Dave.
Boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy. All right. Drinks up, fists up, whatever you want to do. Just put something up and say hello to the people, to the fam, to everyone watching and listening to the Open Bar on Tuesdays, live, 9:30 Eastern, ish. We will see you all in 2 weeks, in Deuce Weeks. Deuces.